All right. So it's 3 p.m. Central European time, and I would like to welcome you here in this webinar from beautiful, well, a little bit sunny Prague, if I may say. Well, it's cloudy Prague, but sun is slowly getting out, coming out from the clouds. Hello, everybody. My name is Easy8. I'm going to be your main host, as always, and we are going to talk about easy redmine for daily work. That's the category. And there is going to be a practical guide for team members who is going to be presented from today's speaker. Who is going to be that? I will introduce you the beautiful person right after the technicalities, which we need to introduce. So technicalities or technical manual, if you want to. So as always, your mics are muted, unfortunately. I'm sorry. There is nothing what I can do about that. And if you are going if you are going to need to ask something or say hello or whatever, you can leave it in Q&A section. You can ask during the entire webinar or at the end, where we are going to have a few minutes dedicated to Q&A. And we are going to have a specialist who is going to answer your questions. So the entire thing, the entire webinar is recorded as always, and these recordings are going to be available a few days after the webinar on YouTube, or you're gonna receive them. So that's about the technicalities, and let me present you right now the main speaker for today's show, today's webinar. I would like to welcome here our Victoria. Hello, Vicky.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Yeah, hello.
All right. Vicky is going to have a 45 minutes presentation, so it's going to take approximately 45 minutes. And then we are going to have a Q&A section, where when you are going to be asking us a question regarding the topic, and that's pretty much it from my side, I guess. As always, it's pretty much quick and simple. And I would like to now pass the floor to our Vicky, who is going to start with her agenda and presentation. So have fun, guys. Vicky, it's all yours.
Thank you. Well, just a second and now I can start. Perfect. So hello, everyone, again. In this segment of our Easy Redmine or Easy Project webinar, we'll explore how regular users, and particularly those in team member roles, can take advantage of some of the settings and how they can best use the application. I've tried gathering some feedback, and we had a bit of a brainstorming with my colleagues, and I hope that you're going to like what we prepared for you today. I mean, what I prepared thanks to their insight. Well, so firstly, I'll show you some of the tips on how you can customize your dashboard. Then I'll explain the difference between timesheets and logging your spend time on tasks. Then there's going to be quite a complex part 4, that I named task management. And this section will include quite a lot of examples, or mistakes or best tips what to avoid. And then I'll show you how AI assistants can assist you with daily work. And lastly, before Q&A section, I'll show you the difference between filters 1.0 and how to work with dynamic filters, and also one tip, how to display dynamic filters of tasks in an application. So first, for dashboard customization, this really depends on the user's permission. So if, well, let me show you. You can, once you're logged into your application, you see your, like, the main dashboard and the adjacent tabs. And depending on the user's permission, you may or you may not see this customized button that allows you to add more widgets to your dashboard page. We're going to operate now with the scenario that you've been granted by your admin the right to customize your dashboard. And I prepared a few examples to demonstrate and give you tips on what could be done on your dashboard that you might have not been aware of. The first example is being a trend. And I am actually now logged in as a regular user who, for instance, when I go to the tab My Tasks, what you usually see, this is what you usually see when you create an email application. You know, you see your tasks that are past their due date. You see tasks that you need to finish this week. You can see all your open tasks. Um, but I thought maybe, you know, there is a scenario when you are nor the author or the assignee to the task, and that's the case when you're a coworker, so you're just following a certain tasks, and you might want to display such a task on your dashboard. So the way you do it is that you go to customize, and now, well, you already see all the existing widgets that you have there. You can, change their position. But in this case, we're not gonna choose from one of the bottom options, which take only 50% of the page when you decide to display a list of tasks. But I'm gonna go here, and here you can see all kinds of formats, types of widgets that you can display. There's a multiple option, and today I'm going to actually mention some of them later that you might have omitted, and they're quite useful. But for now, I'll pick one of the most used ones, and in this case, it would be trends. Each time you have to when you're creating a widget, you have to decide what entity is going to be related to, and in this case it would be tasks. And now you have to name it somehow, so you could name it I am the coworker, and what we would want to display is not the sum of estimated time or remaining time, spend time, etc., given that you are a coworker, so you're just following the updates, and you want to display only the number of tasks that you are following as a coworker. And then you can click on coworker is me, and it will by default put it as me. And now it is the same as when you display tasks in a list, a widget list. Um, Even on a trend, you can decide what kind of columns you're gonna want to see. So in this case, spend time or estimated time is something that we're not really interested in, and that's pretty much it. And now I can save it. And here I created a trend, as I was saying, where I see the number of tasks where I'm a coworker, and when I click on it, you see exactly those displayed columns that I actually wanted to have displayed. Another example that I find quite useful would be to, for instance, when you work on tasks and you log time on your tasks, sometimes you want to see like how far you've gone, how well you're it's the end of the month and you would want to know if you actually met the quota of the hours that you're supposed to work. And for that, I I like to show you quite a useful widget. It's quite simple. You just find the name spend time, and then you would want to have it display as chart. And since we're now at the end of the month, it will display nicely. And then when I save it, what you can see now is that out of the 144 hours that should be worked in the month of February, only 59 were logged. So that means for this user that he only used 41% of the capacity. Another good example of a widget is custom Kanban board. And so when I go to cockpit, it could be displayed nicely here. So many times you have the format list, but sometimes you would want to visualize the tasks that you work on. And for this particular case, there is something called custom Kanban board. And you might be wondering, so what's the difference between the custom one and the project one? And the project one only displays one particular project that you pick. But in case the example of custom Kanban board, you can actually decide if you don't put any project in your filter, you can just decide that, okay, well, I want to display all of the tasks um, on the projects that I'm in, and you can just configure it. Well, now I'm going to do it like very quickly. So I'll just put new and then another one, another column that would display would be like on my ongoing tasks. And the last one is pre-configured. So this way I'm able to, well, now it looks a bit crazy because I put all of the projects and a simplified form of 3 columns. But I just wanted to show you that this way you can have your own workflow set up on this custom dashboard, and you can visualize all your tasks and then work with them by drag and dropping them onto another column. So that's it for that's it for the widgets. And I also thought about the example of when you actually cannot um, see the customize button. And well, you can, like, obviously you cannot display all the data that you desire, or it would be a bit more complicated, but there are cases where you would want to know um, when you log your time onto billable or non-billable hours, and you would want to know, okay, so like how much time did I already logged onto the projects that are dedicated to a specific client, and you cannot customize your dashboard this way, so you actually cannot access data or visualize them in a way that you would desire. And in this case, I suggest that you go to the global menu, and sometimes the modules that you can access can also help you. Um, for instance, when you go to time reports, they like sometimes you can actually display some information. And once you display this information, for instance, yes, so I already have it pre-configured here. Um, I want to see my billable time for this month, and I can see that I worked, or this user worked 24 hours um, on projects that are dedicated to clients. And this way well, this is just one time entry, but you can also save this sort of a filter, and you can create your own. Um, I will call it billable time this month, and can tag it in a heading and give it some color. Um, but what I'm trying to say is that this way you can create your own save filters that can save your time. You can have them in different areas on different entities on the application when you can really create widgets. And this way you can access um, quicker some data that are important to you. Then we have another part that I wanted to talk about, and that's timesheets versus spend time. So a lot of our clients wonder what time, like what the difference between timesheets and spend time is, and um, and what should they use one or the other, or can they use them both at the same time? And so the answer is yes, you can use them both at the same time. It might help you to manage your workloads more efficiently, and I'm going to show you now actually how. Um, well, and what I also like before I show you a practical example in an application, I also wanted to say that there is a difference between logging your time onto tasks versus on timesheets, and that's the comment section. Because normally when you go to a task and you wanna log time, you have this field here that might be also required, um, where you can write what you've been working on. Whereas when you create a timesheet, this option's not there, even for the cases when comments required. What happens is that the system will automatically autofill this field and put a dash there instead. Um, but when we okay, let's create new monthly timesheet to show you how you can work with timesheets all together with the other option of putting spend time on tasks. So now for logged as my regular user, I'm going to create a timesheet for this month. And so here it creates a table of entries that are already existing. So that's one thing. It will display everything you already put in there. Also, if you add another time spent onto a task, it will display here. So it will update the table, but also, and why timesheets are used and can, well, enhance your time efficiency is that you can like easily log time to tasks that are more of they're more like repetitive or more of an administrative form. And at the end of the month, when you need to lock some time or you need to like visualize everything together, uh, you can actually use timesheets. So for instance, for my user, if I want to add a project that's more of an administration. I would want to say that, for instance, well, every day I worked for an hour. This it will somehow had an error. I'm sorry. I have yes, and that's because I already fiddled with this a little bit, so now it's actually screaming that I'm not allowed to put this, but now since I removed the row, it's working. And I can show you that you can easily put uh, some hours onto each day in the month this way. Um, another thing I wanted to show you is when you lock time, and then we have two fields here newly, and they tell you that you can actually write like, okay, I worked 2 hours, and you can say exactly from to. And this is particularly useful for companies where they actually track this. But what I wanted to tell you about this is that there is no validation, which means you can have two tasks where you put same time ranges, and it would not notify you about this. It would absolutely save it, and it could if it wasn't the case, it wouldn't negatively impact user experience, and it's so therefore this case was omitted, and it's actually just good to bear this in mind that this is what the system does. If it's something that your manager is actually gonna track, because once you put the time range from two into the system and you save it, it will be displayed in one of the reports. Another big part is task management. And yeah, so I have all the important information here. Uh, the first one is task deletion. Well, in this case, when you delete a task, it's permanent, and there is no undo button. And it's important to mention as well that deleting a parent task removes all subtasks. Um, well, if you're unsure, if it happens that you need to delete a task that has subtask, you can well easily display it um, in a full view of the task. But then there is also another tip if you want to see quickly once you're on a project. You want to see, well, okay, but I want to see well the tree. I want to see which tasks are parents and which tasks are subtasks. So one good tip is on a task list when you're on a project is to go to options, and here you have this option to display all the tasks in a tree. And this way you can see which task is a parent task and which ones are just subtasks. And well, I guess you can imagine if I delete one of them, all the other ones are going to be deleted as well. Um, Another part is about creating a task where you accidentally create a task in a wrong task type. And there are two ways to deal with that. Like one is that again, you're the type of user, because team member users or end users can have different permissions. And one example is that you absolutely cannot change the task type of your task. And another example is when you had this permission, but you happen not to be able to display it, and you happen not to be able to find this option. Here, you cannot find it. And how you actually do it is that you have to update the task, and then, well, again, it's something you cannot see right away, and it's a bit hidden. So yeah, so this is my tip, is to look for all the additional custom fields or even standard fields, which this one stands for, in the part of added additional attributes. And here you can easily change the task type of the task. Uh, then another good example is the one of a custom field that previously custom field on a task, let's say in this case, which previously wasn't required, and the administrator changed the settings, and now, well, the custom field is required, and it requires quick action. So for that, I have a good tip. When you go to tasks and you want to, let's say you would want to display a specific task type, because mostly custom fields are connected to a particular task type. So you would want to display all of them at once, and now you would want to change that required custom field. So what you can do, if the value changes for all of them, if the value is the same for all of them, you can use this bulk edit feature. You click on the tick, or you just untick the unwanted tasks. And then once it's ticked, then you have to click, you do the right click of a mouse, and you will find in this table a part that's called custom fields. And here you can in bulk change the value of the custom field that became required. Another good example is the one of the mention. So normally when you are, well, either an author or author, coworker, or an assignee on a task, you usually, when you have the right settings, you can configure that you're going to be notified. But there is a case when you can actually have none of these. So you need to tell your coworker on a particular project that something happened on a task. And, well, this person must be a member of of that particular project. So let's say it would be Lucy. And if you want Lucy to be notified of a certain message in comments, you can use the @ sign and then just use the logging name of that person and write whatever you need. And this way, the user will get notification in this case, to her email. Um, this works only in comments, and it doesn't work in descriptions. Another example is about restrictions. So sometimes it happens that you would see some fields that for some reason you cannot change. You can absolutely change the priority um, to a high one. You can change the assignee author, but you cannot change some fields, and you don't understand why, because on some other tasks, this is possible for you to do. Um, So in this case, the reason why it's happening is because of, again, the user permissions, and most likely the administrator didn't allow you to change these fields, and it's tied to the task type, or a task of a task type that you're working on. So the system's not broken. It's connected to how it was configured. And if you think that it doesn't work for you, or if there might be some sort of a setting that you think you should be allowed to configure, then it's good to discuss this with the administrator or your manager, and the setting could be adjusted. Then another example of such an issue is that when a parent task and its start and due dates cannot be changed, where in normal situations a regular user would be able to change these kinds of fields if the workflow allows them to do so. And this is also connected to the configuration. In this case, the explanation would be that both start and due dates are inherited from subtasks. So the manual changes are actually overridden. Then time entry format. Well, this is a good tip for you when you log time here of hours. It's also written in the legend. I just wanted to mention it. So if you don't want to convert um, the actual minutes into, let's say that 15 minutes would be 0.25, the system does it by itself. You just have to, yes, you have to go outside of the field, click somewhere else, and it will done automatically by itself. And well, another or the last part of task management is our task templates. And I only left here a question where to access, because normally you would, as a user, team member user, you could access, of course, through the global menu. You can access them. You can see what task templates are available, and you can create a task using this task template. But usually on when you're on a project, and here in this section, you can also see task templates. But as a regular user, I recall that when you create a task, this is how we usually create it. Then you think about a template that you actually could use. And in this case, it's the button is right in the upper right corner, and you can actually change or use task template that's available onto your project. Here, you would just click and apply, and it would display uh, the predefined fields of task template. What has to be taken into account is the fact that you only see task template that are connected to a particular project. So there's for now no task template for all projects. So it happens that sometimes users want to use this button and they don't see any task templates available. And the reason for that is that, well, it has not been configured well, and there is no project associated with a previously created task template. So again, that will call for asking your administrator to change the setting. should you not be allowed to change it yourself. Um, well, I think we still have a bunch of minutes, right? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so now I wanted to show you how AI assistants can assist you with your daily work and what it actually does and how it could empower you and how powerful these tools can be. This time, I'm going to talk about just the three of them: Knowledge Assistant, Write Assistant, and AI Task Summary. Um, the Knowledge Assistant helps users find solutions quickly by pulling from the knowledge base. So when I go to, and this time, I'll need to access our demo where you can find the knowledge assistant is on the top menu, the horizontal menu. Here you have um, this well head that obviously is quite is getting the information directly from a brain of something. And here, when you write a question, in this case, it would be like something very simple just to demonstrate what is a read mine. And if you're using knowledge base, it would generate the answer directly and also provide a reference where the answer was generated from. What you might find even more interesting is how AI assistants, especially the one of Write Assistant, can save you time when you're working on a task. So, for instance, if you have a task and well, I can delete this one. You have a task that you need to work on, and you would say, well, um, I need like a short draft for a bug takeover. Um, and I would make a mistake here just to show you that here, depending on the prompts that you have, you can decide, well, yeah, I wrote something really quickly. I want to fix the grammar. And if I need to create, sorry, if I need to create a draft, but I need help. I can't think of anything myself right away, and I would need a little bit of push. Um, you can tell the AI Write Assistant to help you create such a draft, and then you can build off of that, and you can use it, and you can just put it there, and then you would decide, well, okay, but I don't want it. I don't want it in this language, and I want it in a different language. So that's also possible. I don't have this prompt here now available, but this is also something that could be configured as a prompt. And the last one being AI task summary, which is a powerful tool when you have a very lengthy tasks and well, you don't have time. You just need to save your time and you just want to know, well, what's going on, what needs to be done. And that for that is a AI task summary. And this tool can help you summarize what's being discussed on the tasks in short text, in bullet points, etc., depending on the prompt. So this way you would know what was going on in just a bunch of sentences. And I think we're, sorry. And well, yeah, we have a poll now.
Oh
It's
yeah, we
gonna,
have, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we would like to ask you guys something, which we wonder, the question which is going to land right now on your screens. So, as always, you know the drill in these polls. Go ahead, answer the question, how familiar are you with dynamic filters in Easy Redmine or Easy Project? There are three answers, and of course, you can mark only one. There is a single answer. That is a single answer question. So go for it and let us know. Okay, I'm still seeing someone actually replying to these questions, so I'm going to wait a little bit more.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah. Well, they can answer while I keep talking, or
Well, yeah, I would actually wait
okay,
a
well,
little
let's
bit.
wait then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I think I no worries, no worries. I think we are done. So let me share the results with you. As you can see, you never heard about of them. This is the new to me. That is the actually 44% for this answer. Then we have tried them before. I use them occasionally. There's a 42%, and the last but not least, you are the power user. 14% of you are the power users, and you are very well known about that. Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going now to pass the floor back to Vicky, and she's going to continue with dynamic
Yeah, so the
filters.
results of the poll, like, that's what I expected. I get this question a lot. So from my clients, sometimes when they're testing, when they see the dashboard of their subordinates, and they come across that, well, their task looks different, and why is that so? What happened, etc. And the answer is that it's most likely um, dynamic filter. And when I go and I change the task list to dynamic filter, this is how it looks. And it might look a bit overwhelming at first, but actually it's quite handy. And what it does, because when I go back to 1.0 filter, when you filter any information, you would want to filter tracker, and you want to see only tracker of the task type. Let's say user story. I think there are none. Okay, 19. Um, well, now you don't know what you filtered because it's sort of hidden. You have to click on filters active. So that big difference in comparison with dynamic filters is that once you filter something, and I'm going to do the same, tracker is user story, and I apply, I'll get the results. But not only do I get the results, I also see what I filtered, because here all the information is stored. And the same goes for when you want to, let's say, group the results by project, and then you see that it's grouped by project. You don't have to click anywhere. Um, then there are these three symbols, and so it's actually tells you how it displays the tasks. This middle one displays your tasks in a bit of a card form. Um, it could be useful when you want to visualize your tasks differently. And then going back to the list form, then if you want to add another column as you have, you can do so here. So you would I would want to, let's say, what it hasn't been percentage done, or when it was start date. than when you apply. So it works similar to what you're used to with filters 1.0, but it's sort of easier to navigate. Everything is displayed at once. And this could be displayed when it comes to task lists, then project lists. Even when you, I think, well, you go to time reports, we already talked about them. Go to time reports, you can do the same with your time reports. You can work with them um, in this dynamic form. And lastly, that I wanted to mention is that you can equally add dynamic filters as a widget. So in this case, you could choose what filter to use and then display them in a dynamic form on your dashboard, and to have it like accessible right away and exactly what you need to see. And this way I haven't displayed anything because I chose wrong filter, but yeah, I hope the message is received. And that's pretty much it. And then, well, thank you for listening. And now we can move on to the questions and answers part.
Q&A, yeah, that's right. And then survey. So please do not leave yet. We have some questions in Q&A. So Manuel is actually asking how to set up or modify the sprint overview boards. It is possible to import boards, and are some boards available for Easy Redmine web page? Thanks a lot for the info. So he's going to answer that. Do we have any answer? Vicky or Mark?
Well, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so let's see.
I'm not really well set up and modify them. That depends on what kind of sprint, because there are more modules. I would leave. I would like. I'd prefer to write the answer later, but when it comes to importing them, I don't think it's possible for them to be imported.
All right. Okay, thank you. So again, from Manuel, it is possible to reduce the users in the user lane on project Kanban board. That only users are displayed that currently have task assigned.
Mm, is it possible? Well, now this is not. I don't think this is change. This is editable. It displays, if I remember correctly, it displays um, all the members of the project of a project.
All right. Okay. So Ira is asking, could you please create task template with checklists? I think that was for the past topic, which we were.
I think I didn't answer the one before. Is it correct? Because I think I missed it. Is it possible to mark as a coworker user that is not a member of the particular project? No, no,
Yeah, you did.
that's yeah. Sorry, that's the rule number one. You must be a member of a project. The answer I provided was for previous question. So yeah, this is it. Unfortunately, that's rule number one. You must be a member. Otherwise, you can't see, because then there are all those permissions and permissions granted with being a member of a project. With the role comes some responsibilities and permissions. I'm sorry. Okay, and now could you please create task template with checklists? And yes, that's possible. Am I still sharing my screen? I am,
Yes, you
right?
are.
So when you have, maybe if I go to one of the here you can already put a checklist. You're like this, and then just write um, answer A, answer B, and this will be part of the task template. So yes, this is possible.
Okay, thank you so much. And last question is going to be from Andrea. What do you suggest to give users, and it's gone. Sorry about that. So yeah, it was answered by Marek at the last moment. So
You can just read
so
it out
that
loud, so
yeah.
that's good.
So what do you suggest to give users a gentle reminder to avoid forgetting recording spend time on their tasks? So what is going to be the gentle reminder for them? What do you suggest that we can do?
Can you see the answer?
Oh, yeah, I thought that you would like to also reply it. Okay, so Marek actually replied it. I would suggest using a dashboard which would nudge the user to fill out their spend time. You always want to make it as easy as possible. That is the answer from Mark. Okay, and we have one
Plus,
more question. Yeah.
plus, also exactly a dashboard or a combination of widgets. So um, also in on the main dashboard, there's this my attendance, and you can, no, it's actually in my spend time here. You can see how many hours a day were locked. So like a combination of good widgets that tell you like, well, maybe I shouldn't have just 4 hours locked onto a day when I work 8 hours a day, but there is no like official notification that would scream at you to be like, you should do your homework. So it's just gentle widget reminders, and that's it. Yeah, thanks.
Ira also says, strange, I have a server version and I cannot do it. That's probably about the checklist, Ira. If you are asking about the previous questions where you were asking, could you please create task template with checklists? So,
I'm thinking maybe if you're, well, depending on your role, but maybe you have the permission to create task templates, but you have no permission to create any tasks. So I'm thinking it might be a combination of more permissions where one permission is allowed, another one is not. Is it,
all right.
yeah, we have another question. Is it possible to have a time report that arrives every week for the time spent? Mm, it doesn't, well, if you, Samantha, if you mean some automation, then no. Everything needs to be, you can just pre-configure with filters, but as a manager, you just you have access to view data, um, to display them, and then once when you create some private filters, even you can have it pre-configured and then just export it weekly, but there's no automation.
Okay, thank you. And Ira is adding, yes, it was for the task checklist. I'm an admin member of the project. What permission am I missing?
That's interesting. Nothing comes into my mind really. Maybe it's maybe something needs to be allowed in deep administration settings, but definitely should be it, and I can look into it and provide an answer later.
Yeah, I think this one is gonna be some kind of investigation,
Mm,
answers where we need to
mm.
somehow to check and take a deeper dive and look into the permissions. So, Ira, if I can, recommend you something, feel free to, talk with us later. We can take a look to it. So, and that was probably the last question, I guess. Or do we have? Yeah, we have a little bit more time, like 4 minutes. So with these, I would like to actually say thank you to Victoria for her presentation and her information, which she actually gave us today. Thank you, Vicky.
Thanks too.
And as always, guys, don't forget to not quit that quickly on the webinar, and just wait for the survey, which is coming right after. When we will finish these, you're gonna get a pop-up on your web screen, on your browser, where you are gonna see the survey, how you like that, what we can improve, etc., etc., etc. So feel free to leave us a commentary, some feedback. And with that, well, I think we have everything what we came for. So thank you so much for your time. And I wish you the best of luck and great rest of your time for the rest of the day. Have a beautiful day. Take care, guys. See you next time.